Good evening. I am Bill Burrell, president of the Tidewater Chapter, Tuskegee Airmen. Before you today stands current and former members of the Tidewater Chapter, Tuskegee Airmen. Today we have our original president, Dr. Gross, who was the first president of the chapter. We have several past presidents who are standing. But also we have members who have given great dedication and who have walked with Colonel Peters over the years. They've been his friend, and also he's been their mentor. Today I'd like to read the proclamation as they stand, and as they stand they represent two V's, a symbol that many of you have heard of before, because before the civil rights there was the Tuskegee Airmen. Before Rosa Parks ever sat in the back of a bus, there was the Tuskegee Airmen. Before Dr. King gave the speech, I Have a Dream, there was the Tuskegee Airmen. During World War II, who fought not one fight, but fought two. They fought the fight in Europe to help win the war, but also they stood firm to fight the fight against segregation and racism in these United States of America. So we stand together as a reminder of what they've done and the legend that we stand. Therefore, the Tidewater Chapter, Tuskegee Airmen, Inc., Hampton, Virginia, presents this executive proclamation to all who may hear these. May come greetings. Whereas the Tidewater Chapter, Tuskegee Airmen, on this day, the 17th day of October, the year of our Lord, come to honor the life, legacy, commitment, and dedication of Lieutenant Colonel Burnett Peters, Jr. of Hampton, Virginia, United States Air Force, retired. And whereas Colonel Peters was an esteemed member of the Tidewater Chapter, Tuskegee Airmen, Inc., with a commitment to the success of all of its endeavor. And whereas he was born in Parkersburg, West Virginia in 1929, excelled academically, graduated from Summer High School before matriculating at the real HU, Howard University, University of Southern California, as well as the George Washington University. And whereas Colonel Peters served our nation in the United States Air Force with 20 years of dedicated service as an Air Force navigator with over 2,000 flying hours, and was a Vietnam War veteran. And whereas Colonel Peters was the voice and the character of the Education System Committee, ensuring that every high school received a personal visit each year with scholarship applications in hand to give our youth the tools through education to help them navigate life. And whereas, as head of the Emergency School Assistant Program at Hampton Institute, Hampton University, ensuring that no student was left behind. And whereas Colonel Peters led the nominating committee of the Tidewater Chapter, Tuskegee Airmen, vetting leaders to represent and uphold the legacy of the Tuskegee Airmen and the United States Army Air Corps. Whereas Colonel Peters and his lovely wife, Betty, served as a beacon of light and dedicated members at the Langley Traditional Worship Service, Langley Air Force Base, Virginia, and the entire Tidewater, Virginia community. Whereas he served as Chief of Scientific and Technical Programs, Chief of Management Support Division, as well as Director of the Office of Equal Opportunity Program for NASA Langley Research Center, being a guide and an equalizer for equality. And whereas Colonel Peters was a civic-minded member of the Hampton community, having served as a board member of the Langley Federal Credit Union, vice chairman of the Board of Zoning Appeals for the City of Hampton, president, American Heart Association, Hampton Roads, and also was duly awarded the Big Brother, Big Sister of the Year award here in Tidewater. Whereas Colonel Peters was a member of the Gideon International, Les Holmes Civic Social Club, life member of the NAACP, and charter member of the Tuskegee Airmen, Inc., Hampton, Virginia. He was a life member of Omega Phi Psi fraternity and we pause now to say he was a light that represented the core values of the United States Air Force. So today we pause to say thanks for being the light that embodied some great core values. Whereas Colonel Peters exemplified service before self and excellent in everything that he did. Whereas we, the Tidewater Chapter Tuskegee Airmen, come now to represent Colonel Peters as one who put integrity first, which value emphasizes honesty, accountability, as well as ethical behavior. And he did this, but also he fostered this in others who served with him and around him. But whereas the Tidewater Chapter also, secondly, recognized that Colonel Peters represents service before self. Colonel Peters' commitment to service of his community, education, and the future generations made a big sacrifice, but also he was always had the willingness to put others and their needs before his own comfort. Whereas the Tidewater Chapter Tuskegee Airmen come now to say about this last core value, which is excellent in all that he did. But he was a man who strived for the highest standards in every task, where it involves navigating an aircraft, his civic responsibilities, supporting and encouraging the communities, organizations, and individuals. Not only did he meet, but also he gave them great expectations and allowed them to be greater in humanity. Now, therefore, I, the Right Reverend Dr. Bill Burrell, President, Tidewater Chapter, do hereby proclaim October 17, 2025, a day of remembrance for our beloved member, Lieutenant Colonel Peters, Jr. of Hampton, Virginia, United States Air Force retired. Therefore, I ask in the Tidewater, Virginia community, and all of the Tidewater Chapter members, and all members and citizens that can hear these notes, respect this. Respect is submitted. Yours truly, Tidewater Chapter President. Thank you.